Happy homeschoolers. Oh, hello, happy homeschoolers. Oh, I'm Dr. Dawn Karima, and I'm so happy I get to spend some time with you today. This is wonderful. I love it. I'm so glad that we have a moment to just think about our homeschool journey and really enjoy it and really just have a joyful, loving time of teaching and learning together. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, I think it's so exciting and I'm so honored because you could be doing anything with your time because that's one thing homeschool families don't have a whole lot of extra time. And you could eat a cheese sandwich, you could take a nap, you could go for a walk, and yet you're spending this time here with me. And that's not lost on me. I appreciate it. I'm honored. I'm thankful for the trust that this platform is placing in me to even share my homeschool knowledge and journey with you. I'm really grateful. I am. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful for you. And I want you to be happy homeschoolers. And so I want to share with you something that I believe will just help you so much on the road to being happy homeschoolers. And if you're already happy homeschoolers, oh, it'll make you happier even. And here it is. Are you ready? This will help us. Now, I don't know about you, but I have seen that most of us that homeschool have incredibly high standards. We're really tough on ourselves. We can be really, we can be perfectionists even. And sometimes that trickles over into our children. I've seen homeschoolers that expect their children to excel at a much higher level than they would be doing in school, brick and mortar school. And we want our children to be tremendous. We want them to live up to the gifts and talents that already are in them. And we want them to be great and to do great things and to have great knowledge. But we also want them to have great joy. We also want them not to be miserable. We also want them not to fear or dread learning. We want them to have joy. And so I'm thinking about a time in my life I was going through a really hard time. I mean, it was just awful. It was, ooh, I would wish it on anybody. And I didn't know how I was going to make it. I didn't know if I could make it. I didn't know what to do. I mean, wow, this was awful. And my granddaddy was our pastor at our church and was for decades. And there were, because he was a World War II veteran, there are many World War II veterans there and veterans of other eras as well. But there was one man that was there and he never said very much to me. And I don't know if he talked to many of the other people, but he had survived a death march in Asia during World War II and then gone on. I mean, by the time I came along, these men were very elderly men. And he survived that ordeal. Now, I'm not comparing homeschooling to war, but I am going somewhere with this. Trust me, I am. And I saw him outside our church one day, and I'm not talking about religion or telling you what to believe or anything. I'm just telling you a story. And he was polishing the bell that they ring to let everybody know it's time to come in for church. And I saw him and I just blurted out of all the pain in my soul and all that. I simply said, "How did you do it?" I think I did ask him first. I asked him, like, "Can I ask you a question?" I think I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He said, "Yes, ma'am." And then I just blurted out, "How did you do it? How did you survive something so awful?" And he stopped polishing that bell and he turned and I could see he was thinking. And he said, "I lowered my standards." Well, my granddaddy came out and they rang the bell. It was time to go into church. And I didn't get to ask him any more questions. And I guess I could have. I should have probably. But I lived on a little longer. And sometimes that's all it takes. You just got to live on a little longer time to know a little bit more about something. And I understood the more time went on what he meant. He didn't mean leave your standards of hygiene or excellence behind. That's not what he was saying. But sometimes when you're going through a really difficult time and a difficult situation or a challenging situation, it's like if somebody's taken to the ER, they don't check their manicure. They don't look to see if their brows have been done or if they had a pedicure recently. They look at the problem. They pick the most important problem and they fix it. They work on it. And I think sometimes as homeschool families, we have to be careful that we don't make unreasonable standards, that we don't add to the standards that already exist and then terrorize our children and break their hearts about them, right? Like, for example, you pick a high quality curriculum, an excellent educational platform, and you trust it. And then you add to it, you take away from it, you modify it, you perfect it. But understand that there's never going to be perfect because we're just not. I mean, you're never going to have the perfect homeschool day. You're never going to have a perfect. You might get 100 on the score on the quiz that goes with the curriculum, but there's still no such thing as perfect. And there's always a space for us to beat ourselves up. Well, I studied music with my kids, but I didn't teach them how to play 10 instruments. No, yeah. Well, there's always going to be a space that even if you're excellent, which I believe you are, you wouldn't be listening to me if you were not interested in being dynamic homeschoolers. I mean, if you were trying to slip and slide and to be mediocre, why would you be sitting in happy homeschoolers class? Right? You just go be mediocre, right? The fact that you're even listening shows me you want to be excellent. It shows me you want to be dynamic. It shows me you're trying so hard and I see it. I see it. I know you are. So please don't drive yourself into uh, perfectionistic gloom. Don't scream and yell at your children because they're not getting it perfect. Don't go round and round and round and round and round in circles because there's always more curriculum and there's always one it seems like that's hot. Like everybody gets this one. Everybody's using this one, and then 10 years later, everyone's using this one. Pick the one that works. When you get the platform, trust the platform. Do what the platform says to do, and then believe. Hey, and so that is one of the things I would like for you to do. I would like for you to trust you. Trust the platform. Trust the curriculum. Trust the co-op. Trust the program. Trust the classes. Trust the uh, the PALS live classes. Trust, trust, trust. We're not going to lower our standards and that we're not going to want any less for our children. We're not going to lower our standards by not teaching excellence and not being outstanding. We're only going to stop beating ourselves up. Okay. When I when I first started homeschooling, I was quite an overachiever. I was like, oh, preschool, okay, this is it. You're 2 years old, you should be learning all these things. And I had a mentor, a great mentor. She had raised 6 boys and they're all terrific. And she said to me, well, there's always grade school. Like I'd say, do you think we ought to add this to preschool or do you think we ought to do this to preschool? And she's like, well, he's 2 and there's always grade school. And now sometimes I say it to myself. I say, well, there's always middle school. There's always high school. There's always college. There's always university. In other words, everything your children learn does not have to happen in your house, in your homeschool today. They can learn more things later. They can learn more things just another day. But they don't have to learn things right now that they are not advanced enough to learn. Right? And just because everybody else is learning it doesn't mean you have to learn it. It might not be the best thing for your homeschool. It might not be the best thing for your homeschooler because comparing yourself to other people will always make you unhappy. It will always set an unreasonable standard that nobody can meet and you will be miserable instead of happy homeschoolers, which is our goal. So there will always be someone who, when you say to them, oh, today my child and I studied Baroque compositions by Vivaldi. They will say, oh, well, my child played some on the violin. And guess what? Both are wonderful. Both are great. Don't get uncomfortable thinking, oh my God, my child didn't learn the violin today. Oh, They learned what they needed to learn for today. And they'll learn more later, and they'll learn more later, and they'll learn more later, and they'll have a lifetime of learning because our main number one job is to instill a love of learning in our children so that they will want to learn and want to grow, and also so that we let them know that the love begins with us. We love you. We love you, and you love to learn. And that is the secret recipe of happy homeschooling. I want that for you. I want that for you. And I want that for me. That's why we're going to be happy homeschoolers. Not perfectionistic ones, not miserable ones, not frustrated ones or impatient ones or angry ones or dissatisfied or disgruntled ones. We're going to be happy homeschoolers. And that starts with loving ourselves, loving our homeschoolers, and loving to learn. I'm Dr. Dawn Karima, and I'm so glad we had happy homeschoolers time together. I can't wait till we're together next time.